I'm James Helder. Welcome to another episode of Not For The News. With me, I'm joined by my esteemed colleagues from the world of sport, in particular football and boxing. With me, I've got none other than Curtis Woodhouse, aka the War Dog. How are you, mate? You okay?
I'm very well, James. Thank you.
Good. We're also joined by my esteemed colleague, the tenacious one, none other than Leon Knight. What's happening, mate? How are you?
Happening, James? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. So let's get straight into it this week. I want to look at Real Madrid disposing of Man City in the Champions League. The dream is over for Pep. The Champions League are losing yet again. Firstly, what did we make of the game, lads? And I'm going to go straight into the War Dog with this.
Yeah, it was a crazy game, wasn't it? Man City looked like they were home and hosed, really. Pretty comfortable. I think Pep, probably when he's at home and on his own, probably will question a few substitutions he made. You know, whenever you make changes late on, it don't go right for you. You're always going to be there to be criticised, I suppose, and lost a little bit of momentum. Probably thought they were home and hosed, and then Real Madrid just became Real Madrid for 5 minutes, and that was that. I was gutted for City, to be honest, because Pep's obviously an amazing manager, but he definitely does need that Champions League to his name without that Barcelona team for him to get the full credit he deserves.
I agree.
But yeah,
98th minute, 89th minute, they were home and dry. Everything was going great. Pep's no doubt one eye on the final. Where's it gone wrong? Where do you think he's dropped the ball?
Well, I think you need a number 9, didn't you? I think he took off. Who did he take off? Jesus or someone. He took him off, didn't he?
Yeah, and put Grealish down the middle in that little false 9 role, didn't he?
You got to have, in some cases, your best form of defense is attack. You got to give the opposition something to think about. And once they took him off earlier on, it kind of went iffy, and like they say, it's the old saying, and it's not over till it's over, mate. And you're playing Real Madrid, mate, and you've got to be on the ball for flipping until the whistle's gone. You can't sit like 89th, 99th, or 98th, whatever minute.
But you know what, Knight? You know what? If Man City spent 100 million on Harry Kane instead of 100 million on Jack Grealish, that tie gets put to bed. It gets put to bed at Man City, and it gets put to bed over at the Bernabeu as well.
Yep.
And then they're decisions that land on the manager's doorstep. I'm far from criticising Pep, because obviously Pep's Pep and his class. But you got to look back at them decisions. Go a whole season with no centre forward. Obviously they've got a great team. They're going to go on. They're going to win things. But you put a top number 9 in. You put Benzema in that Man City team. That Man City batter Real Madrid home and away, and that's the difference. I don't think Real Madrid had a shot on target until the 90th minute, but Man City couldn't put them away. They missed some really, really good chances to take the game away from Real Madrid. Didn't take them, and then bang, walked into a right hand right at the end, got knocked out.
I just want to mention a little bit about Carlo Ancelotti, Don Carlo.
Yeah.
What a job he's doing. Have you seen the pictures of him on the internet celebrating the title win?
Yeah, what? You can't put anything past him. You can't, do you know what I mean? He is who he is. He's won countless titles all over Europe. You know what I mean? You can't think you're going to go on, outthink him or anything. He's a top-notch manager.
Do you think it makes it more sort of a silly decision, the way that Everton and that ended with him there?
Well, definitely. But I saw a thing, I don't know how true it is, you might have to look it up. I saw a thing where he was like talking to the bench, like to say, who should he put on? And they agreed to put on, what's his name, who scored the 2 goals?
Rodrigo, wasn't it?
Rodrigo, yeah.
They said, yeah, put him on. And obviously it worked. Like, these are the little things that I think, as a manager, and you get older, Curtis, you've been a manager. I mean, sometimes you've got to look to other people. You ain't always got the answers. Do you know what I mean? And I think that was brilliant on his behalf. Cruz and all them players there was, saying, bring him on, 2 goals, game's done.
Yeah. I think a big part of leadership as well. Obviously, when you have someone like Real Madrid, every player is a top player. You sometimes need a manager that's going to drop his ego. And he was willing to say, listen, lads, what do we think?
Yes.
You know, and he was receptive to that. I haven't played under many managers that are like that. You know, many of them are like their way or the highway. So for him, Ancelotti, like his record as a manager is unbelievable, and people forget how good a player he was as well. Ancelotti was a proper player. You know, so for him to be receptive to other people's ideas, I thought was a real touch of class.
Love that. Love that. Now, lads, we saw in the news this week that a French fan had pretended to be a member of the PSG football team and blagged himself a hotel room for free. I know Knighty likes them lyrics. That got me thinking, who is footballers' greatest blaggers? Whose stories will be timeless when it comes to football blagging and pranks?
I've got the main suspect.
Go on.
Was at Southampton. Who said he was George Ware's cousin or someone. But again, forget the hotel and getting paid. He was playing.
Ali Dyer. Dyer, mate. Yeah.
Now he's got more Premier League minutes than you, mate.
This is what I mean.
Oh, that's below the belt. That's hard.
Nah, but he's right. You got to deal with the facts, mate. You know what I mean? He blagged his way in. I should have tried something like that. I tell you.
Yeah. Just goes to show. I wonder what Graham Souness thinks about it now when he looks back on it. Brought Ali Dyer on in the Premier League.
In the Prem. Not League One. Not League Two. Not the flipping National League or whatever it is, conference or whatever, in the Prem. And he was running around like a rabbit in headlights. He didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. How do you get that far? How do you blag something that far? Like, we've all lied on our CV, I guess, for jobs and stuff and embellished a little bit. How do you blag it that far, lad?
I've seen this happen a few times, you know, and I'm not naming clubs or managers, but all of a sudden in pre-season, you get like 7 or 8 kids that are over and you're like, what is this guy doing here? And obviously agents are giving managers little brown envelopes to get can we get this guy a trial? I've promised him a trial. Well, it's going to cost you, you know, and all of a sudden every pre-season you see all these people turn up from nowhere. They've got no chance of ever getting a game for the first team or even for the reserves. We all know what happens.
We had a couple of them at Brighton as well. Came over with AstroTurfs on, and we playing on grass pitch and all that. Right, you know, nightmare. That was the era we. To be fair, there's a lot of them, especially pre-season. Like Curtis said, there was a lot of that. I actually remember that there was a lot of that. Just a load of new players, and you're just thinking, "Oh my God, where's all these? Like, am I going to be out of the team or what?" And they get on the park, and they're absolutely useless.
Yeah, you look back now and you're like, right, yeah, I get it. I see what was going on.
Now, for me, while we're on the subject of football blaggers, we've got to mention Carl Power. Do you remember him? The Man United fan that dressed up as a player and got on the pitch.
Yeah, Champions League final, wasn't it?
Champions League final. Lad, that takes some doing. That's got to be iconic in football blagging status, surely.
Roy Keane clocked him as well, didn't he?
Did he? Yeah.
Yeah, Roy Keane like looked over and was like, "Who's this guy?"
The rumours are that Gary Neville went to say something, and Carl Power looked at Gary Neville and went, "Shut up, Gary! Don't be a grass." And then
really?
And if you look at the pictures, you can kind of hope that interaction's there. Yeah, brilliant. Now,
yeah, that's up there. That's up there with the George Ware cousin, defo.
It's up there, isn't it? Yeah, big up Carl Power if you're watching this, mate.
But you know what? You know George Ware's cousin, has he not trained or anything? He must have trained. The manager must have seen him in training or something.
You would have hoped so. You would have hoped he sort of been involved in some five-a-sides with a team or something.
He must have done.
He didn't look like he played, I tell you that. Absolutely shocking.
Now
he like, I don't know, man. It was like, you know, them gangly kind of players, like, do you know what I mean? He was just really like uncoordinated, like he was really like bad, really bad. I don't know how he got in there, to be honest.
I respect his hustle. I respect it. You know, for him to get there and get on the pitch, and basically he's probably looking at it thinking, I've got a chance to change my life here. I got 15 minutes to change my life.
Imagine if he bagged one as well, though.
He had a chance, though, didn't he? I remember he had a chance. It was like from quite a tight angle and hit the side netting. The technique was horrendous. But he had a chance. He got slid in.
Reminds me of that player from Brazil. I was just trying to get his name up. I watched a documentary on him. The greatest player that never was. Literally, before the internet, he would just ring up clubs. There wasn't as much video footage and as much liaising between clubs. And he would literally spend 3 months at a club, 3 months at a club, 3 months at a club. You guys ever come across any players like that in your careers?
Yeah, I was one of them. Fucking hell, I tell you.
I didn't want to bring it up, mate. You know what I mean?
It was in the end. I done a bit of that, mate. Don't worry about that.
Yeah,
I've got a quick story for you though regarding management. If you got a couple of minutes, so when you're a manager, you get so many emails of this player, that player, they've scored 1 million goals last season. Can he have a trial? Da, 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 da. When you first go into management, you're a bit wet behind the ears. You're like, yeah, this geezer sounds amazing. And they're all rubbish. They're all terrible. And you're like, wow, get him off the training pitch. So after I've been managing for a couple of years, I was at Hull United and I got an email of this girl called Donna who used to work on, used to hand out the wages at Hull City Football Club. And she'd been on holiday and met this guy on holiday, this Scottish lad, and he'd moved over to East Yorkshire into Hull. And he told Donna, oh yeah, I play a bit of football. So Donna said, Curtis Woodhouse and Ian Ashby have a local team. Why don't you go and go on trial for them? So Donna rang up and was like, oh, can he come down? I'm like, fucking hell, Donna, drop me out. So I met him over in Tenerife, like, let him come for a trial. I'm like, no, I don't really want him here, but I'll do you a favour, fucking bring him along. Like, they said, oh, he's Scottish, like, he's centre forward, apparently. I'm like, yeah, bring him down then. Within 10 minutes of training, I'm like, mate, sign this here for me, and so you're eligible for Saturday. He scored 56 goals that season. Brett Agnew. Wow. He ended up being unbelievable, but probably my best ever signing. And wow. And that just came from just accepting one more. So you never know who's going to walk through your door, do you?
See, big up Donna. Got it right.
Yeah, big up Donna. Best agent ever.
That Tenerife trip worked out all right for Donna.
Yeah.
Where's he now, Curtis?
You know what, Knight? He should have played so much higher. So he scored loads of goals for me. We went up a couple of divisions, kept banging him in. And then one pre-season, he got like a knock on his knee.
Yeah.
And he's saying to me, for a couple of weeks, like, my knee's stiffening up. It's quite tight. I said, you better go and see the doctor and go and have a scan. He had a scan like 4 months later. He's waiting for a scan in the NHS. Fucking done his crew shirts. They've been playing for 4 months with his crew shirts. So he's out for like year, 18 months. He came back and he stayed in and around the same level, but he should have played so much higher. And I used to say to Brett all the time, I've played with centre forwards that have played 400 league games that are not as good as you. Timing, you know, wrong place, wrong time. I don't know what happened, but he should have done so much more, should Brett. Through no fault of his own, he was a grafter, dedicated, train his nuts off. But some people get picked up and some don't.
Yeah. A lot. That happens a lot of time. To be fair, people, you got a right place, right time, a bit of luck, and you got to perform when you need to perform, and then you're on your way. But like you said, there's a lot of people that fall on the wayside.
Yeah,
you know what though, Knight, and I always used to say to the kids I used to manage down at that level that were playing non-league, if you're centre forward, it's never over for you. Never. No. If you're 26, 27, you're banging goals in, it is never over. If you're a left back or a right back and I'm managing you at 24, it is what it is, guys. It's over. But when you're a centre forward, every pre-season as a manager, you're like, I need someone to score me some goals. No matter what level, everyone is looking for that goal scorer. So it's never over.
As we saw the tragic passing of super agent Mino Raiola, recently announced, confirmed this time having been the victim of what can only be described as internet trolling, announcing his death before. We saw all the memes and stuff. Have these agents got too much power in the game? In modern football, do these agents hold too much cards? What do you think about the job that they're doing?
I don't think they've got too much power. I just mean it is what it is. Sometimes I think it's a good thing that you've got, because agents like that and super agents and agents within in and around the game. I mean, when you're at lower level and stuff, do you know what I mean? And they're coming in and saying they've got an agent and whatever, and they're not even getting paid and rubbishness. Then obviously you have to stop the ball there. But with players like Pogba and you know, these superstars and all that who, you know, he was an agent of. I think you need an agent like that. Like the clubs will try and take the piss out of you sometimes. Do you know what I mean? You need someone who's a force, really. Do you know what I mean? Who can speak on your behalf, because these clubs, if they like we've said in the last episode, if they can get away with blue murder, they will get away with it, mate. They will take the piss. You know what I mean? And it's you know, you can only do so much as a player without getting disciplined and stuff and whatever. And that you can put over to your agent and say, listen, have a word with him because so and so is happening and blah blah blah. So I think it's not like it's a bad thing. It's 50-50, isn't it, really? Do you know what I mean? I think it's...
Dog,
I agree 100% with 90. Agents are needed because the power was too weighed in the football club's place. They could basically do whatever they wanted to a player, and you didn't really know you had any rights until agents came along. My issue with agents is they probably take way too much money out of the game that doesn't go anywhere, don't get redistributed back into the game. So yeah, I think agents are kind of a necessary evil, but they definitely need them. Otherwise, like Knight said, football clubs would absolutely trample all over players and have absolutely no remorse whatsoever without agents. So the football clubs don't like them because they're just taking a bit of power away from the football clubs.
No doubt there are some really good agents out there, and at the top level there's going to be some ruthless business deals going down. I don't doubt that.
Yeah,
there's going to be some bad agents out there as well.
Oh yeah,
there's going to be some horrendous ones out there. What's some of the stories you guys have heard or been involved in or had spoken about regarding some of the agents in the game?
But I had I signed my professional contract at 17, and at Chelsea, and I signed with Sky Andrews, probably Sol Campbell's agent, Tennant's agent, Jermaine Defoe's agent, and I decided that I wanted to leave him. I'm still at 17, and I decided that I wanted to leave him after only a little while with being with him. Never done much. Never even got the deal with Chelsea for me, and I wanted to go to a company called SMS, which is Jerome Anderson's agency. And like I said, Sky Andrews didn't do anything for me, really. You know, we was just getting into it. I'm 17, I'm just getting into it and whatever. And he hit me with a 10 grand bill at 17 that I had to pay off. So it's them little things there as well. Like I said, if he'd done something for me, then I would have, do you know what I mean? I'd have been like, all right, you did this, you deserve this or whatever. And stuff. And he just slapped me with a 10 grand bill, 17 years old. And, you know, I found myself paying off a debt. But these are the shitty little things that happen. Like, do you know what I mean? So that's my little story on an agent there.
I had something similar when I moved to Birmingham City from Sheffield United. I went there for £1 million. And I think I signed a 4-year deal. So quite a bit of money involved. I won't name the people involved in it, but yeah, I ended up getting sued by an agent for thousands of pounds. And it was my fault. But I was railroaded, really. I was young. I think I was 19. Didn't really know much different. And technically, I'd broken some clauses in the contract that I'd signed with a different agent. But yeah, I was manipulated, really.
You don't really look at the small print when you sign it. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, when it comes time to you wanting to leave them and stuff, they start popping up these flipping, you know, laws and rules, and you broke this and that and the other, and you're thinking, Jesus Christ, like, do you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, that's part and parcel, isn't it, really? Like I said, like, you didn't know, so you
live and you learn, don't you? You live and you learn.
Now, in the news this week, we've seen Crawley Town manager John Yems accused of racism, abuse of power, which he's been suspended by the club pending an investigation. Just picking up from where the story left off, what do you make of it? John Yems has some serious accusations laid against him. Not here to defend himself, so we're gonna question some of the stuff that's been going on as independently as we can. What do you make of some of the accusations and allegations made against John Yems?
Who are you talking to, me or Curtis?
I'm talking to you, Knight.
Shocking, isn't it? Really. But how old is he?
He's 62. He's 62, is John.
He's from that sort of, you know, era where he probably acceptable and it's not. It's not, you know, if he's doing that now, he's been doing it a long time.
So some of the stuff. So for instance, Yems is accused allegedly of labelling a player a suicide bomber, another player a terrorist, another player a Zulu warrior. Now, you guys have been in changing rooms when there's been some horrendous banter flying about. I don't doubt that. In boxing gyms in particular. What do you make of these comments made by John Williams?
I mean, I've seen a few of this guy's interviews anyway. He seems like a proper full weight nugget. You know, he's aggressive. He's very confrontational with the people interviewing him. The guy seems like a prat. But it doesn't shock me. You know, like I said, I'm from the same area as 90. We used to come in on a Thursday or a Friday, and the 8-a-sides used to be blacks v whites. You know, so this sort of thing is not. It wouldn't surprise me or 90. I'm sure of it, but. You know, the times have changed. Some people have changed with him and some people haven't. And it's obvious that he hasn't. Yeah, it's shocking, really. But anyone that's involved in football will have probably 1% shock. I'm not surprised at all. Like I said, these people are infiltrated within the game. That's why all the, like, kick it out T-shirts and taking the knee. Honestly, people of my era, 90s era, well, I just look at them things and just think, honestly, drop me out. Do something serious or don't waste everybody's time.
It's a waste of money, time. Do you know what I mean? It's the knee and stuff like that just don't make no sense. Make no sense. I mean, since they've been taking the knee, what's happened?
Yeah, nothing. It's bollocks, isn't it?
I mean, but since they've been taking, since Kick It Out started, what's happened? He had a T-shirt for the warm-up before the game. That was it.
Yeah.
They're doing it's just like a fun. If you look deep and investigate it, I guarantee money's been knocked off here and there and everywhere. And it's just a company that's been built to make it look like something, but it's not doing anything.
You know what? If racism gets brought out of football and it's no longer a thing, a lot of people financially are a lot worse off. They're the facts. You know, you have companies and people making a living out of racism. You know, and that's just how it is. People might not like me saying that, but it's true. People are drawing down hundreds of thousands of pounds a year from being the head of these companies. You take racism away, you're taking their jobs away. You know, so
sorry, go on, Chris.
No. So it's, you know, it's like 90's right. You have to look at these companies because that's what they are. Probably limited companies, or there'll be charities drawing down funding. But then the head of that charity will be on 250 grand a year or whatever. You got to look close into it, and they're all at it.
And I advise any player that is, you know, going in the same situation and going through whatever, you know, he's been putting these players through. Come out and talk about it. It's that time. You can come out. It's not like, do you know what I mean? Back when we was playing and you had to keep shush, or, you know, your career is basically done. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think there's a lot of sorry to interrupt.
I could say a few things about some managers I've played under that are very well known in the public eye, that have said some horrendous racial things that never ever get airtime on TV ever again if it came out. But what's the point?
Well, that's the content we're here for, Curtis.
I think players now who hear it down in and around the changing room, it's the only way it's going to stop. Come out and speak. Come out and speak. There's nothing bad's going to happen to you. As long as you're telling. Can you hear me?
Yeah, when you played, there was a different stigma attached to this. If you came out and spoke about it, you'd be labelled a bad egg. Your career could be jeopardised by speaking out. Do you think your
career would have been done?
Your career would have been done. Do you think that gives you a level of empathy for older players before yourself, where before you may have looked at it like they didn't speak out, they didn't help clear a path for players like yourself, but now can you understand that they themselves would have been victimized and their career potentially ended if they would have spoken out about the prejudice that they experienced.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. You got to feel for them, mate. Honestly, because if it's still going on now, and this whole social media is going on, and there's more black players in clubs and working for clubs and stuff, like, can you imagine what it was like back then when there was no black physios, there was no black coaches, it was all predominantly white, like, do you know what I mean? So can you imagine what was going on back then if it's still to this day going on, like?
This was my next question. Is there still a undertone, an undercurrent of institutionalism and racism against black players in the game? Is the incident at Crawley Town the tip of the iceberg, regardless of these big campaigns to take racism away from our game?
Well, I just think you look at society and you look at sport, don't you? There's racism in society, so there's going to be racism in sport. It's just been driven underground, that's all. Like you said, you look at a lot of, it's a generational thing, isn't it? You look at the older, say, white chairman will look at black people differently than a younger, vibrant person that's been brought up in different times. That's not just in football clubs, that's in any big corporation, CEOs. I think it's an age thing, absolutely.
Are we culturally making an acceptance of these people's behaviour and putting it in, it's an age thing, it's an age bracket? Should we be as tolerant for people's views because of their age? This is another question, I guess, is more society than football.
But I think sometimes you can put it this way: you can forgive an 80-year-old lady saying something that is not acceptable to say in today's terms, rather than an 18-year-old lady, because they're from different times. So I am more forgiving, and I'm from a different area to you guys. I'm from East Yorkshire, so honestly, I hear some things. I was at the horse racing on Saturday, and somebody said something that was unbelievably racist, and I just couldn't believe what I'd heard. So I like I say, I live in a different part of the world to you guys, where I think it's 98% of the population where I live is white. So I get to hear some like unbelievable backwards things. But a lot of the times I don't judge them people. A lot of people don't mean it out of malice. They're just ignorant. They're not educated on the matter. It's not their fault.
No, I can understand that, and I can appreciate your point of view on it. I really can. How does football channel this and change it? We've seen some of the bans. Some of the bans that have been handed out to some of these fans is ridiculous. Some of the online abuse that these players get, regardless of performance, I'm talking based on the colour of their skin, is unacceptable. How do we change this? How do we make this stop?
Well, you can make it stop within. I don't know about what's going on outside football or whatever, but you can make it stop. You can. Do you know what I mean? And that's just simply sack everybody that's involved. If you're going to get sacked, and that's just the bottom line. There ain't no investigating. Obviously there's investigation, and then they find out that it is true what people are saying about you. Yeah, you're out of a job.
Well, I don't get it.
I disagree, Knight. I think a massive thing that players really overlook, and it really annoys me, that the power is with the players. So, let me give you some players, for example. So I'm thinking of prominent black players in the Premier League. So let's say Marcus Rashford, let's say Raheem Sterling. Okay, let's take them two overnight. That say, you know what, this ain't good enough. So we're refusing to play until something's done about this. These are our 10 steps. This is what we want meeting by the FA and by the people in charge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're not kicking another football until this is sorted. And we're going to bring together every other black player in the team, and we're going to stand united on it. So instead of taking a knee and all that stuff that doesn't mean anything, we're going to refuse to play. And then all of a sudden, we'll find out who's actually real about this and who's just talking nonsense about it. Because the real ones will step up and say, you know what, I'm all over that. I ain't kicking another football until something's done. So all the rest of it for me is it's box ticking. It's to keep people happy. Yeah, we're doing this, we're doing that, but none of it's got any substance. Refuse to play.
You know,
I hate what you're saying. Like, if they put it into place, yeah, it's gonna ripple through quicker. The players, that's never gonna happen with the players. The players are all about the money.
So you know what, mate? I've got no issues with that, but if it doesn't mean enough to you, then stop going on about it.
100%.
What I can't understand, lads, is say, for instance, you were tweeted something on your Instagram about a common cold or whatever. You could get a warning about that picture and to be taken down. How can someone pick up their phone and send a racially abusive tweet or aggressive tweet or whatever to a footballer and that not have that same warning? Why is that technology not being used to stamp out racism and highlight racism?
Firstly, half the stuff that's done like that are done off of like blank accounts, no picture.
It's still an IP address. It's still a phone. It's still a registered contract to someone. Do you know what I'm trying to say? If we really wanted to look deep into it,
some of the times they do find them, and they get a stupid sentence, which is or banned from whatever, or this whatever it is, yeah. But half the time they're shit houses. They're not going to come. They're not going to come from their account and openly just go on how they want to go on. They hide.
I think from my point of view, I think this is more.
I think this is what they do. I think we've only really touched on it a little bit today, and I think we can really go in a little bit more depth on this subject. So we're going to back up.
I just want to say this, James, quickly on it. I just want to say this. I think a lot of times you're looking from outside influences to come and help us. When the power is with the players just refuse to play. Then it'll get sorted within 48 hours.
I know. I fully hear what you're saying, but the players are scared. They're scared, mate. You can. I mean, listen. I don't know why they're scared, but they're scared.
Yeah, the players have all the power. So with you, boy. They can make a change. And they can change the game for the next 50 generations coming through. So swallow that fear, step up, boys, and make something happen.
I mean, is there a thing in place where in your contract, if you stop playing, you stop getting paid? These are the things, like, do you know what I mean? That the players would be looking at and stuff, because
these are the things that we're going to break down and discuss in a bit more depth. I want to thank you both for your time today. And I know it's a good episode when we're struggling to get it all in. So hopefully we can pick this up. Thank you very much, Knighty. Thank you very much, Woodhouse. And we shall see you on the next episode of Not For The News. Thank you very much.